Welcome to another episode of A Brother with Questions. I am your host, B. Period. Man, I appreciate you for joining me. Please like and subscribe to the channel, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, Spotify, Castbox. Find us somewhere and just listen, man. We appreciate you. Man, I saw this interview with a rapper by the name of D1. And I don't know if you're familiar with D1, but if you're not, go check this brother out, man. This brother is one of the most positive brothers there is, I would say, in the rap game today. He is a Christian rapper, although I don't necessarily know if he officially goes by that title, but he certainly wears God on his sleeve and in everything he does, man. And so as you can see, he's doing an interview with Sway in the morning. So we're not going to listen to the whole interview, but there were some things he said in about 10 minutes of this interview that I just want to highlight and talk about a little bit. And if you don't know D1, he just dropped a new album. I want to say the title is Uno. Go check him out. The music is dope. And as you're gonna see, man, this brother, he got a lot to say. Let's dive in.
This financial freedom you've experienced, because that does weigh heavy on us. We live in a capitalistic society, so it's hard to ignore it. Has allotted you the opportunity to say whatever it is you want. Speak your truth. Be liberated. I think we as a community should all be able to experience that. Not many of us experience that. Can you express the feeling that you have every day when you wake up, knowing that whatever you want to say, you don't have to hold it? This stuff I wouldn't say on this air today.
Wow.
Me.
Wow.
Let's pause right there. Now, if you don't know who Sway is, okay, Sway has been doing radio for, I believe, about 30 years now. He's been doing Sirius XM for a good, I think, 15 or 20 years or something like that. And this brother, who is, in terms of the hip-hop game, he is probably one, if not top 5 preeminent hip-hop radio broadcasters. He's definitely in top 10, but I think he's probably top 5. And this brother on the air 30 years, and he's still afraid to say some stuff. Like, he still can't be honest on radio. Talking about financial freedom. I ain't in Sway's pockets. But he been out here for 30 years. I'm sure the check at Sirius is a great 6-figure salary minimum, if not more. But yet, he still don't feel free. Man. Let's listen to D1's response, man.
Stuff I won't say.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Bro, when you realize that money is just a tool and it's meant to be used, then what that does is that frees you up to where you understand, okay, like, I am who I am with or without the money. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I could take a dollar bill right now and literally, like, tear that mug up. Once I tear it up, how much is it worth?
Nothing.
It's worth nothing, right? But no matter what I go through, no matter how many times I sin, mess up, in God's eyes, am I ever worth nothing?
Woo!
No.
I told you this brother be speaking. Now, I know that might have gone over your head, because if you're not in your word, if you don't have a foundation in the man upstairs, you miss that right there. It doesn't matter who or what I go through. In God's eyes, I'm always going to be great. It's one thing, again, when you understand, you get into the Bible, you understand that from birth, God has had a plan for my life. He's had a purpose for my life. And so no matter what I do, if I'm just fulfilling his purpose, whether I'm making $10 million or whether I make $10,000, if I'm fulfilling his purpose, my life is amazing in his hands. Woo! That's powerful. Matter of fact, that's freedom. That's the freedom that so many people are really chasing but never achieve, because they think their freedom is in that money. They hold their freedom in that money, right? They're looking at their bank account and going, man, I got $200 in the bank account. The last thing I need to do is say something wrong and mess up this job. When God is saying, do my purpose. And you ain't got to worry about that job because I'm going to take care of you. I got you. Trust in him in all your ways. Come on now. And D1 would have talked to you, boy. Ooh, D1.
I'm always worth something. I always have worth. I always have purpose. You know what I mean? So I realized, like, I will not be a slave to a green piece of paper, man. I wasn't born just to pay bills. You know what I'm saying? So that right there is what has made me to where I'm like, yo, I'm really not, I'm not anti-money, but I'm anti the love of money to the point where it becomes your God. You hear me? And that's it, man.
D1 is here. So with that said,
God already told us don't put no other guys before me, money included. Because for some people, the money is the God. Because you're going to do anything you need to do to protect that money. I mean, God is just asking you to follow your purpose or follow his purpose, whatever that is. And then when you follow in his purpose, he will supply all your needs because he's going to take care of you. Come on now. Let's keep going.
You speak out on the culture a lot.
I do.
And I'm curious to, has anybody in opposition hit you from some of the things you say? Like when you talk about sexuality and lyrics and the impact and effect that it has on kids. Has any artist who uses that come to you or DM'd you in opposition?
No, because they know I'm right. Deep down, they know I'm right. And at the end of the day, because I shine my light so bright, all that means is that my spirit irritates their demons sometimes.
Let that sit right there on you. My man said, one, no, nobody's expressed their disappointment in what I said because they know I'm right. Come on now. I mean, I don't know exactly how old he is, but I know he's over 30. Maybe he's mid-30s, late 30s. I don't know. But by the time you hit that age and you start listening to the lyrics of some of these younger generations, and while you may acknowledge the fact that they don't know no better, but you're listening to them and you're going, man, this ain't it. When I was listening to music in the 90s, I got that there was some stuff in there too that was like, you know, I'm from Florida. You heard about Luke. Come on now. But you know what? I think for me, when I reflect on these things, I think there was so much more of a balance in what we were listening to back then. But, and maybe you might disagree, and that's okay too. But when I'm listening to the music today, I mean, the filters are just gone. It just, as bad as Luke was, I feel like some of this stuff worse than Luke. Come on now. and so, whew. But then the fact that he comes back and he says, I can't help that my spirit is irritating it. Woo! Irritating. Oh, come on now. Come on now. That speaks to who you are now. Because when you know you're wrong, when somebody calls you out on it, you get a little self-conscious, like, wait a minute now. Because you know you're wrong. You know somebody need to go holler at these little girls about, hey, I get that you want to be sexy or whatever the case may be, but you ain't gotta. I mean, what's the little girl, Pound Town? Like, hey, y'all heard them lyrics? Like, you ain't gotta be that. You ain't gotta be that. There's another way to do this thing where you ain't gotta. I don't even know I don't even know how to describe it. There's got to be a better way to do this thing. There's got to be a better way to express yourself without having to basically offer yourself up in a song. There's got to be another way. Come on now.
And I'm okay with that. My spirit is supposed to irritate the demons that exist in this industry. That's okay. The artists have not hit me in opposition. If anything, it'll be their brainwashed fans, the fans who pledge allegiance to somebody who they ain't never even met before. You heard me? And who are like, I'm ride or die behind this artist or they love to hit me with, well, you're only talking about female artists. You're not talking about male artists. Man, I call anything out from anybody, male or female. You know what I'm saying? My first big song was
about men.
J50 and Wheezy.
Yeah, the three giants.
Yeah, come on, man. So nah, at the end of the day, there's some people who just get upset with the fact that I will boldly stand for righteousness, even if it means that my quote unquote popularity will suffer. Because
where are the artists that will boldly stand for righteousness regardless of what it does to their brain? Imagine if we had more artists that will boldly stand for righteousness regardless of what they do to their brain. Imagine where we'd be as a people right now if we would just boldly stand for righteousness. Boldly stand on the word of God and allow him to direct our paths. Allow him to direct the words that we say. Allow him to guide us into the places that he needs us to be. And allow him to take care of us in the way that he desires. Because that's all he's asking for. He's asking for us to let him lead us. Imagine where we'd be if we allow God to lead our lives. I mean, if you look at D1 pledges to allow God to lead his life. And in a game where he is the antithesis of what everybody else is doing, he's found a lane where he may not be Jay-Z, but he's certainly taking care of himself in a game that says you can't do it when you're positive. In a game that says if you're positive, we don't want to push that. In a game when they say if you're positive, we don't want to play that on the radio. But here he is, positive. And he's not the only one. But here he is, positive. And has obtained whatever level of financial freedom he feels comfortable with. Because I'm not in his pocket, so I don't know what he's making. But he clearly, in his mind, makes enough that he's good. Makes enough that he's not worried about a second job or worried about going out and doing something else. He's focused on doing music. And as you heard him, he also is a fellow at Harvard, a fellow at Tufts University. So he's got, because he was an educator by trade. That was the first thing he did when he got out of college. And so he's doing it again on a higher level. But he's good. And everything he does acknowledges God first. And then he follows the path and the words that God leads him to say. So don't tell me you can't. Because it is possible.
I wasn't put here to be unanimously accepted by the whole world. If I'm doing all that little code switching to where I'm cool with everybody and everybody love me, then something ain't right. I want to be known for being a bold man of God who talent could stand up next to anybody in the industry, but who was not a slave to any of this, which is why I wanted to tear this up on
hold
air.
on, man. Get a close up on that, man.
Yeah, I got to tear this up on air.
Get that close up.
This is liberation for people at home to see that, like, wait, I spent my whole life working for this. Wait, I'm trying to backstab people in my community to get this. Wait, I'm trying to glorify this. All I do is listen to rap that glorifies this. Man, this green piece of paper is now worth nothing, y'all. Nothing. My whole life will not allow me to be a slave to that, which y'all are looking at. That's all it is. You know what I'm saying? And when we put it in its proper place, then it's like, all right, cool. We all needed to survive, but that will not run me. Yeah. And as simple as that sounds, people need to see that and hear that to be able to exercise that and put that into practice.
Money can't be our driving force. Because no matter what we do, money's never going to solve the problem. Right? Money's not going to bring you happiness. Money's not going to fulfill your emptiness. Money's not going to put a smile on your face when you lose grandma. So money can't be your solution. There has to be something else that you have to feed the soul with. It might make some things easier. It might make it easier to get a house, buy a car, help a friend out in need, but it'll never fill the emptiness. That's what you need. You need God for that. You need the scripture to understand God's words. Understand what his plan is for you. You need to pray. Find out his purpose for you. Because that's what's going to give you your wholeness. That's what's going to bring your completeness. That's what's going to allow you to have peace. If I steal a little wisdom from what is he now? Bishop Love, I believe. Used to be Bishop Puffy. More money, more problem. So it's not happiness. Apparently it's problem. Come on, speak on it. Speak on it.
D1 Music. Make sure you follow him. Another comment I thought was interesting you talked about a while back was the mental health of the culture in the community. Talk to me about how do you view it right now, and how are those ways we can improve it?
All right. The mental health of hip hop is in such a state of cognitive dissonance having to be practiced on a daily basis, meaning we are actively creating and consuming content that deep down we know this is not healthy for us. This is not what we need to be putting out there into the world. But because it's so catchy and because it has a dope beat underneath it, we continue to push it out there. You got managers who are taking advantage of their artists. They know their artist is on a fast track to hell. They know their artist is on a fast track to jail or to the graveyard, but they want that commission off of their artist. And they know, like, I'm going to keep exploiting them because the world seems to be infatuated with seeing them push themselves to the limit. And as a manager, as an OG, I'm not going to say anything. I'm just going to collect my commission.
Do you hear this man? I'm telling you, there were so many jewels dropped by D1 in this interview, man. That's why I'm not even gonna give you the whole interview. I'm taking about 10 minutes out of this thing and just kind of diving in on 10 minutes, man. But come on, man. I mean, it's one of the reasons why, I mean, in all honesty, I can't listen to hip hop no more. It disturbs my spirit. My spirit is disturbed. Now, I ain't gonna lie now. Every now and then I might pull out an old school joint, but this new stuff, where every other song is about drugs, every other song is about sex, every other song is about doing drugs. Because it used to be, people talked about this story. But hip-hop is transitioning now. We just telling stories. So you ain't never did any of this. You just talking about what you saw. But then you represented it as who you are. Come on now. And then we got the drug culture that's taking over. And we got so many people talking about doing Molly and doing Coke and doing, like, come on now. This is death and destruction. On another level, as far as I'm concerned. And then when you talk about the sex part of it, and how, I mean, we just, like I said, we are offering ourselves in a song. We have offered to do any and everything you can think of in 3 minutes. And you hear it thousands of times because it becomes the most popular thing on the radio. And so on the radio, they play for over and over again the 3 minutes of everything you are welcome to do to my body, or the 3 minutes that I want to do to you. What? What are we doing? Y'all ain't, I mean, it bothers me to even know the song exists, let alone hear it. Come on, man.
That is a mental health illness that we have. That's almost like, that's predatory, you know what I mean? And for these artists, think about it like this, yo. In real life, if you do or glorify bad things, there's death, there's jail time, and there's dishonor waiting for you.
Yeah.
In the rap game, if you do or glorify bad things, there's money, fame, popularity, and legendary status waiting for you. That's why everybody want to be a rapper.
When you talk about destruction, it rings the bell to the tune of millions. Millions. And here this brother is speaking positivity. And half of y'all don't know who he is. Come on, man. Speak to it.
They're like, oh, I could be a rapper and glorify all this negative stuff and be looked at as a legend and get paid and popular off of it. But if I do that in the real world, and if I don't have the umbrella of saying I'm a rapper doing this, then I probably go to jail or get murked behind that. Or,
That's
you know,
real.
that's what I mean when I say the mental health of hip hop is in just a crazy place. Cause you either got commissioners, that's record labels. It's the 3 C's. It's creators, consumers, and commissioners. You hear me? I teach about this at Tufts. My course is called The Intersection of Hip Hop and Social Change. You got these 3 components. Creators need consumers. Creators and consumers often need commissioners, like outlets, media outlets, or labels who can fund the push of this music. So with creators, consumers, and commissioners, you got commissioners, labels who are taking advantage of these creators who are desperate, who are like, man, I'm just trying to get a little bread to get out the hood. Oh, we'll give you an advance check. We'll sign you, knowing that we about to exploit you, knowing that you're not mentally in a good space, but we're going to exploit you. What happened to all the major labels? Make sure y'all listen to this. What happened to all the major labels who pledged millions and millions of dollars after George Floyd got killed?
Yeah.
And they were like,
he touching on the feathers now. Whoa, he touching on the feathers now. Come on, where's the money? Where is the money? That's part of the reason why, in my opinion, I still believe. I knew it was a farce at the time. All these companies pledging money to social justice issues with nobody having no real plan as to where the money would go or who the money was going to. And so you had all of these funds out here of people claiming they did this and they did that, but where the records at? Where's the improvement in the community that we've seen after the hundreds of millions of dollars that have been pledged? You know, there was an episode of Atlanta where they essentially mocked this idea of people who created these social justice initiatives. And in the episode, what they do is they basically have these groups of individuals who purport to have these social justice companies. And then what the major corporations would do is they would pay this individual who has a company to check the box. And then the individual with the company would then go and do some small charity event in the community, check his box, but ultimately keep most of the corporation's money. Come on. I mean, I don't know if that's what's happening in real life, but that's how they mocked it in the episode. And so in the episode, the main character, oh man, what's the main character's name? Paperboy. Paperboy, he got introduced to this culture of, listen, we collect these checks from these corporations, we give a little bit back to the community, but we keep most of that for ourselves. And once Paperboy learned that this is what they were doing, he first tried to go along with it, and then after a while, it just didn't sit right with him, and then he was like, man, I'm out. But again, I'm not saying that's what's happening in the real world. That's certainly what happened in the episode, but I am wondering, did the checks get written? And did somebody cash the checks? Or did the checks just never get wrote? If you ask them, I bet you they tell you they wrote the check. But I sure ain't seen the evidence. Because the same problems that existed then existed now. with zero change in the system, in my opinion.
Like, oh man, this is such a travesty. All right, cool. That was a PR move for them labels, because now 3 years later, them labels are back to pushing and promoting and funding the creation of murder music.
Yeah.
But as soon as George Floyd got killed, it was the proper PR move to say, we as such and such records and we as such and such records stand behind the Black community. No, y'all
Wait, hold
stand.
on. We as such and such radio station.
We as such and such
radio
Come on,
stations.
man.
We as such and such app.
Come on, man.
We the such and such.
The whole industry, bro.
Yeah.
The whole world was talking about writing checks. Where the money at? Man, that's a question I've been thinking about for a minute now, man. Where is the money at, man? I mean, money from the NFL, from the NBA, all the major sports leagues, most of the major corporations in America, hundreds of millions of dollars pledged. Where is the money? And if you wrote the checks, cool. Who cashed the check? And what are they doing with the money? Because as far as I'm concerned, they missing. They MIA. And it was a bunch of fluff. It's one of the reasons why I'm not a social justice dude. What is that? I get that there's some things in the community that need to be fixed, but my goodness. Us thinking that the world is going to solve these problems? No. The problems that we talking about in the community, the only way they get solved is when the community starts solving them. When people who are from those communities, people who live in those communities, when they decide it's a problem and they're going to do something about it, that's when the change is going to happen. I don't care how much money somebody pledge. It's just like the homeless. In California, they spend billions of dollars on homeless. And every year they got more homeless. But they're spending billions of dollars on homeless, but every year the homeless population increases. Why? Because there are middlemen, there are corporations in the middle who are quote unquote collecting the money, who are quote unquote then going to go and help the homeless. The problem is the people are collecting millions of dollars, but by the time it gets to the homeless, there's only a few $1,000s left. And again, I don't have no proof that that's what happened with the money for this George Floyd situation. But I know I don't see no results.
The whole industry. So I'm in this industry, but I'm not of this industry, man. And that's a threat to people. And I'm fearless. You heard me? I'm fearless because I don't need y'all money. The real one's gonna rock with me. I'm cool with that. I'm a college professor. I'm a Billboard charting artist. I'm a public speaker. I'm an author. I just put out my first children's book, which I'm about to show y'all in a second. Man, and I'm not and I don't care about being y'all friends. That's the thing.
Say it again. I don't care about being y'all friend. I'm more interested in the truth. What is the truth? Let's talk about the truth. Let's take our emotions out of this thing, because this is not an emotional conversation. Solving problems has nothing to do with how you feel. Either this will work or it will not work. I don't really care that emotionally you're attached to this way. That doesn't work. I don't care that you cry at rallies. It doesn't work. I don't care that they stood and kneeled with a Kuta Kente cloth on their shoulder. It doesn't work. It solves nothing. Can we get to some solutions, people? Come on.
So
that's the part I love.
With that being said, Heather, wait, who are these people, man? Who is this?
We got Bootsy on here.
We got Bootsy on FaceTime. Who else we got?
We got Kodak Black is on FaceTime with you.
With D1, who else?
Mace, the legendary Mace is on FaceTime.
What up, Mace? My brother Mace, what up?
I'm not sure who that woman is, but
Let me see.
She's beautiful.
Hey man, chill out.
Scroll too far.
No, that's Steph Curry's mom, actually. That's,
okay.
Yeah, shout out to Miss Sonya.
Yeah, she's beautiful.
That's my brother Steph's mom. Yo, I'm good. With that being said, I'm on fire, and I feel even more motivated to continue to be bold about what's right. Because this industry got us messed up. These young ladies, like, just watch the BET Awards. And you can't, and I love that I'm in the culture enough to where they can't try to excommunicate me. I done been on the BET Hip Hop Awards cypher. I done hosted the red carpet for the BET Hip Hop Awards for BET. Like, I'm in the culture, but I can still look at what the culture is glorifying and doing and be like, that ain't cool right there. Like, that's messed up right there. And they act like you crazy for speaking out on it. And I don't blame the 20-something-year-olds. That's why I love talking to Kodak. Or I love talking to some of the little youngest, Fred O'Bang. That's my student. I was his teacher. You know,
Fred O'Bang was your student?
That was my student, bro. I was his teacher in Baton Rouge. Yeah. Sway, God got me on a whole, bro, like my path.
Let's go.
Yo, with that being said, it's the OGs who I like to call DGs because they're disappointing grown-ups. That's what they are.
Uh-oh. He calling them now. He finna call him. I don't know if he finna call him. He finna call him OGs, but he calls them DGs, disappointing grown-ups. Man, who you talking about?
It's the OGs in hip-hop. It's the ones that's 40-something years old. And, man, I hate when I see these gray-haired clout chasers who still talking about, and I send my young boys to come and wet your whole block up and da-da-da, and they still glorifying this. I look at what a Jim Jones, you could do better, brother. I love you too much. I love you too much to not be honest with you. Rick Ross, you could do better, brother. Meek Mill, you could do better, brother. I love you too much not to be honest with you. Are you the face of prison reform? Because are you the face of prison reform? Or are you sitting here on your new song with Ross talking about getting somebody murdered and shot at the red light?
Oh, that's what I'm talking about. Bruh, you know, one of the things that I've always been frustrated by in hip-hop, number one, I don't subscribe to the idea that because you reach 40 or more that you're supposed to stop doing hip-hop, right? Because, I mean, we look at rock artists, right? I mean, these guys are 70, 80 years old, still doing rock music, still creating new songs. So I always hated the idea that somehow you're supposed to be done at 40. But the thing that has always frustrated me, though, is to see the 40-year-old who's been in the game 10, 15 years, who's, like he just said, still talking about murking people on the block, killing people on the block. What are you talking about, bruh? Bruh, you've been a millionaire for at least 7 years. Bruh, we know you're not on the block no more. Bruh, we know you only visit the block on Tuesdays at 3:00 in the afternoon. You know what I'm saying? Like you're not hanging on the block no more, bruh. Like, you have traveled the world. I know you got more to say than what the Bloods and Crips are doing on the block. After 15 years in the game, at least a few million in your pocket, or at least a few million that slid through your hands anyway. You didn't travel 15, you didn't travel to 100 countries across the world, but yet you still talking about murking people on the block. Like, bruh, your music ain't elevated in 20 years. Why? Come on, man. It's one of the reasons why, as much as I love, when I tell you I love Snoop Dogg, I don't listen to a lot of that new Snoop Dogg music. Bruh, I don't want to hear Snoop at 50 tell me about the block. I'm gonna need Snoop to do a little bit better, and it'll be a little bit more clever with his subject matter. You know what I'm saying? So I appreciate everything he's saying. I mean, when it comes to Rick Ross, as far as we know, Rick Ross ain't never been a street dude. Man was a CO at one point. Good job, as they might say. I know a lot of COs that have retired off of that job and doing just fine in retirement off of their CO job. So, I mean, come on, man. Elevate your game as far as what you got to talk about when you've been in the game 20 years and when you've experienced, 30 times what that dude on the block has ever seen. Educate him about that. Cleverly rap about that. Because to me, if you really know what you're doing, if you're good, right? If you're talented, if you really know how to write, come on, man. You can write about anything and make it sound fly. Again, look at this brother. This brother is all positive. 10 albums in, and is still being positive in his game, in the rap. Still spit better than most of your favorite rappers. All positive. So don't tell me you can't do it. Don't tell me you can't do it at 45 after you've been traveled 100 countries across the world 2 times over. After you made a few $1 million and talked to people who got way more money than you, gave you way more game than you, help understand how to keep your money and make it last. But when you go in the booth, you still want to tell me how you slinging rocks. Come on, man. You gotta do better.
Which one is it, bro? Which one is it, bro? Because I did a shoe giveaway in my city and gave out 1,300 pairs of your shoes because they said reform underneath them. And I love that you partnered with a major shoe company and you out here pushing prison reform. But now I got to sit here like, man, this man glorifying getting people killed as of a week ago. Like, what are you doing, bro? Lil Snoop really got killed. That broke your heart. You wear him around your neck. Why are you glorifying the same thing when my best friend got killed? When Carl got killed, New Orleans know who I'm talking about. When Carl got killed, and I had to go to his funeral and read the eulogy and be part of the funeral, and I got back in my car, Sway, after the funeral, and I turned on my music, and I realized I'm listening to music that's glorifying the same stuff that just happened to my best friend. It gave me chills, and I needed that moment. That was my come to Jesus moment of like, D, you got to do something different, brother, because you have a taste for this poison. But you're attracted to the poison, and rap is great. The rap game, hip hop industry is great at cooking up some delicious poison.
Great at cooking up some delicious poison. You know, that's why I think as older, you know, I'm gonna call myself older. You know, one of the things that I did with my youngest is I transitioned what he listened to. At an early age, I started I can't even talk today. At an early age, I started introducing him to the Christian hip hop scene. Mainly because I wanted him to hear what it sounded like to do music at a high level, to do music and be fly, but do music without having to get cussed out when you're listening to it. Hear about how you can do a girl when you take her in the bedroom. You know what I'm saying? What it feels like to do the latest drug and how high you can be. You know, all that jazz. I did that on purpose because I wanted to instill in him something that when he gets to be that 16, 17-year-old, and when I get it, he's going to get exposed to that stuff. I'm not stupid. But I've already laid a foundation for, wait a minute, there's an alternative out here. That I ain't got to listen to this. That I can go listen to something else that's just as fly, but everything they're saying is positive. So, man, shout out to D1, man. I've been checking D1 for years now. I remember when he dropped the Weezy J50 50 song. I remember hearing that back in I think that was in early 2012 or 13 or 14, somewhere in there. I can't remember when I heard it exactly, but it was somewhere in that range. 2012, 2014 is when I picked up on it. But man, just telling you, man, the brother spits. The brother has dope music. This interview, I only gave you 10 minutes. They did an hour, so there's a lot of other interesting content in the interview, man. But if we lying, tell us what we lying. That's all I'm just gonna say. If what he said was a lie or anything I said was a lie, tell us what we lied. Leave it in the comments, man. But shout out to D1, man. Go check him out. Like I said, he's got the new album, Uno, out there. I've listened to the album. The album's dope. Good stuff on there, man. Good stuff on there. A lot of, I think I would have to say my favorite at the moment is probably My Happy. I believe that's the title of the track. First track on the album, My Happy. Dope beat. Love that beat. But yeah, so go check him out, man. Shout out to D1. Man, I hope he said something interesting, man. you know, my takeaway that I hope you get from this is, number one, we got to do better. Doing better for me. I'm always go back to the man upstairs. Doing better for me is building a foundation with God and really diving into what's my purpose, God. You know, reading his word, getting in his face, and really diving into what's my purpose. Because when you get on his purpose, God's purpose, it's going to take you to all the places that are going to lead to peace in your life. And if it's his desire, it will also lead to the wealth in your life. And if it's not, he will certainly continue to supply the needs in your life at whatever level he sees fit. And for that, I say thank you. But, man, shout out to D1, man. On that note, man, I'm out, man. I'm your guy, B period. Again, like, subscribe, comment, share. Share with somebody if you enjoyed this content, man. Until next time, I'm out.